Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTO Advisor, and daily dose, not quite daily, let's call this an extra dose because we got Rolison Rivera, the CTO, Phil CTO for Cohesity. We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas doing AWS reInvent. Rolison, this ain't VMworld, man.
I know, it's pretty insane what's going on here.
42,000 people.
Wow, it's a pretty big following.
There's a pretty big following. Cohesity has a booth down in the exhibitors, in the expo floor. Crazy traffic.
Yeah.
The completely different vibe to this show. You know, we're probably overdressed. You're wearing jeans and a sports coat.
Really?
Dude, there's people with hoodies on, shorts. I just ran into the SolarWinds guys. They have on shorts, and they're in their booth with shorts on. So this is a different show.
Absolutely.
So I want to get into this. Thanks for sponsoring this CTO dose. Cohesity. You guys sell boxes. You're at a cloud conference. Help me out with that. That just doesn't compute. Boxes, cloud show. There are no boxes in the cloud, quote unquote. The whole point of the cloud is get rid of boxes. Why is Cohesity here?
Because we're not just a box.
Okay.
So obviously the main thing for Cohesity is that we're software defined, as you could imagine
Right.
in a modern world.
You're not going to come out for big, it's old news now, but you're not going to get double digits in funding. What was it, 90 million, 80 million?
You never know. Things are looking really, really great. Really
Right.
great.
So, but VCs are going to look at it like, oh, we're going to fund an old model now, so software defined, that's a given.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm hearing terms here that DevOps is kind of passe,
Yeah.
and we're moving towards this just seamless experience for developers. Cohesity, you know, continue. What's the story, man?
So the reality is we are a platform that is software defined, and today the current delivery model is one through a physical appliance,
Right.
but we are also in every major cloud provider. We announced this week our integration in our software within AWS, and we also have it available in Azure, and we're working on also releasing the GCP version of that.
So walk me through that. If I'm a developer and I need to protect some data in AWS, GCP, or even Azure, GCP coming soon, what do I have to do? Do I have to set up some type? Do I need to know about grandfather, son, grandfather, all of that stuff?
No.
Like what's the developer experience?
So from a developer perspective, one of the things that we offer, which is very unique, is we simplify the entire stack and the process for generating or having access to whatever you've decided to access on a centralized platform.
Okay.
So one of the biggest misconceptions today is still, and I find it in places that I go throughout the world, the general somewhat perception of Cohesity is that it's a data protection product. Cohesity delivers a data platform, which happens to have a multi-purpose approach. So the point is to eliminate silos, but we consolidate them and collapse them by providing a platform that builds upon different capabilities specifically designed to address a set of pain points within the data center.
So I've interviewed a bunch of CTOs in the data protection market. You're the first one to really talk about a data platform versus just data protection.
Correct.
The hook is data protection. However, as I'm hosting a webinar and talking about backup is dead. This is no longer about backup.
No.
This is about data mobility.
Correct.
Being able to move data in and out of places that it needs to be. You know, there's this concept that data has gravity. But we're at AWS reInvent. They announced new AI capability, SageMaster, machine learning. That data needs to be in the cloud.
Correct.
However, that data also needs to be on-prem.
Correct.
However, that data also needs to be in Google Compute,
Correct.
in Azure. It also needs to be in my data center on the other side of the world. How do I do that?
Well, obviously, we're bound to limits of physics.
Physics, right?
We cannot ingest as much data as being produced.
Right.
So we have a pretty unique ability we have a data fabric that could be stretched throughout the globe, which basically we can exist as a virtual appliance for VMware, a cloud type of model for AWS, Azure, which will be also for GCP, And at the same time, we have different things that we can deploy according to the size, including in the edge.
Mhm.
Right? So we cover the whole edge core into the actual data center itself with the same type of platform because it's scalable in that particular way. But it's not just backup.
Okay.
Backup is just one piece of that.
Right. It's just one part of the strategy.
Correct. So obviously there's a major gap and a major pain point in terms of what business need today from a data protection aspect. So we address that by delivering newer technology that allows customers and environments to recover and protect and access information in a much more efficient, faster way as is demanded by the business.
That is, I think, a great story, especially in a builders conference where it's all about building. Infrastructure shouldn't be something that developers think about. Data movement needs to be something that developers think about, where the data is needed, data sovereignty, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I love the story that you're bringing to Cohesity. So let's flip it and turn our heads back a little bit. There's Captain vSAN, and then there's the person that created Captain vSAN. There was a little confusion in the industry. You're like, who's this Captain vSAN guy? Comes out, it's Punching Clouds, Captain vSAN. We can't, whenever I see you on Twitter at shows, you can't get too far away from your baby. You still love vSAN.
Absolutely.
So VMware Cloud on AWS, this whole infrastructure that we're building, this VCA, what does VMware call it? The VMC on AWS. Does that need to be protected?
Absolutely. You said it before, data is the new oil.
Right.
Whichever representation of the data is going to be, it needs to be, it has an incredible value. Imagine that we now have been adopting this excellent platform and these partnerships with VMware and AWS, but you still need to protect that data. Right? Whether it be not only just the applications themselves, there's other opportunities that exist, which we're actually tackling specifically to provide a level of, to fix a problem that it exists today in a data center and it will exist everywhere, which is having to protect the management stack. What's VMware's next approach to deliver to a verified data center?
So
a converged stack.
I've protected the management stack. It takes, I don't know, if you ever booted up a vCenter, it takes, especially a big one, it can take 10, 15 minutes to boot up a vCenter. You made some, frankly, ridiculous claims. Can you recap those claims for me? Until you showed me, I didn't believe you, but let's recap those claims.
So it's excellent because the reason why I reached out to you first, right? You were the very first person I wanted to validate. Keith, have you ever seen the recovery of a data center from the management perspective? And I just went specifically because it's a big problem.
Right.
When it can be recovered under 15 minutes. From a complete failure scratch, the place doesn't exist. This is not a replication capability. This is a matter of a recoverability.
So I want to reiterate this. It takes 10 or 15 minutes for me just to boot up my vCenter.
Correct.
Not to recover it.
Correct.
I'm telling you. So I want to make sure I don't want to.
I can prove it.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over this.
No, this is not.
You're
not
saying
smoke.
that from disaster to the point of recovery, 15 minutes later, my entire management stack is up and running. I can provision, start the vMotion.
And then restore your applications in 4 minutes.
So we are going to leave it there, because that's the hook.
That's the hook.
People want to find out about that. How can they find out about it?
So we actually published a VMware branded paper on this. We released this at VMworld. And right now, actually, there's been a couple of articles that have been published myself, and I actually show the demonstration. There's a couple of things where, look, I put a clock on this, so there's not just smoke and mirrors.
Right.
This is what happens. And to your point that you made, which is excellent, we focus on VM recovery, but there's also application recovery.
Right.
Where the fact that the application itself takes 10 minutes to come up, that's an application-centric type of scenario that has to be addressed, and it is. For example, vCenter 6.5, the latest release, that problem that existed before, 10, 12 minutes to come up, has been fixed, so it's now 30 seconds. So imagine if there's a dependency to bring the environment up. Now it comes up, you should cut the time between 12 minutes and 30 seconds, because to be honest with you, a lot of the time that it takes for us to do what the things that we do in this particular solution is letting that service come up.
Yes.
Now we don't have to do that.
I'll provide a link towards your demo
Yeah.
just for people to check it out. Rolison, I appreciate it. Where can people find you online? Find out more about Cohesity.
They could definitely go to the company website. There's a blog there. I actually tend to write a couple of articles when we're very serious about some of the things we're doing there. You can still follow me on Twitter, Punching Clouds, and then also my blog, punchingclouds.com.
All right, Rolison, I appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate you sponsoring it. That's it for this CTO Extra Dose from AWS reInvent 2017. Talk to you next, CTO Dose.